This is Circa Ignem podcast number 008. Get used to lifting your heart to God in acts of thanksgiving many times a day, because he gives you this and that, because you have been despised, because you haven't what you need, or because you have. Thank him for everything, because everything is good. That's a quote from Saint Jose Maria Escriva. And this episode is Thoughts on Thanksgiving with Miss Jamie Carolyn Spencer, my wonderful and amazing wife. Welcome to the show, Jamie.
Hi.
If you don't know, this is the eve of Thanksgiving, and we were talking earlier today, and it was like, hey, let's throw some thoughts out there for people to kind of think about and listen to for Thanksgiving, right?
And I was like, why?
No, I think it was the other way around. You spend all this time with Rick, but you don't spend time with me.
Yeah, you do. More quality time.
That's not true, by the way.
A little bit.
That is not true. All right. So let's go to these questions. What's your earliest memory of Thanksgiving, Jamie?
My earliest memory of Thanksgiving, we would go to Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
From an early age, my grandma, we call her Darling, she had a house in Santa Cruz, and we would go there during Thanksgiving. And my mom is one of 8 kids.
Okay.
And all the aunts and uncles would come with all my cousins. I had a ton of cousins, and we would stay. It was in Pasatiempo Golf Course.
Okay.
And it was kind of the best of both worlds. It was in the middle of the forest.
Okay.
And it just smelled so good, and everything was so beautiful, and it was kind of elevated. And so the beach, I think, was about 20 to 30 minutes away, but you could see the ocean.
Nice.
And it was just so perfect. It's like my happy place.
Yeah.
So we would go, and we'd go to this restaurant called the Holland's House.
Okay.
And
where was that?
it was in the Pasatiempo golf course.
So it was on the golf course.
I think so. It was a very short drive, so I think it is in the golf course. It either was
right on the golf course or really close to it.
Yeah, and we'd always go at night, and I was little, and I didn't pay attention to driving or, how we got there. It was just, for the ride.
Yeah.
And we'd get to the restaurant, and we always dressed up. We'd wear our best clothes.
Okay. So like Sunday clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or like even nicer, like we always had like a special dress, or all the boys would dress up and wear ties or suits or jackets. And I remember always having to wear tights, and I always wanted to wear a dress.
Was it thumbs up or thumbs down?
I don't know. It was okay. I was pretty girly when I was little, and then I had a really big tomboy phase. But so I never really cared about dressing up. I kind of liked it. I liked wearing dresses that twirled.
Yeah.
And we'd go to this restaurant, and we'd have Thanksgiving there with all the cousins and my grandma. Nice.
So how many, obviously it would change like every year, but like what was like ballpark number of you guys at this?
How many of us?
Yeah.
So aunts and uncles, almost everybody came, and then their spouses and kids, like, I don't know, maybe like 40.
Okay. So it was a
people,
crew. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Okay.
I was little. It was all of us.
Yeah. Did they have like a big like group like room in the back, or what was it like?
I don't think there was a separated room, but there was like a big space, like a big table for big parties.
Yeah.
But it was still, I remember there were still people all around us.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So there wasn't like a separate room. You guys were actually eating.
I don't think so.
That's cool.
We didn't. I don't feel like we went to the. I know, so many people. I don't think that we, we didn't really go there in my teens or anything. Like, I still think I was like early elementary, when we stopped doing that.
Okay.
But man, it was awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. It was funny when I was sending you these questions today. That's how well we prepare, folks. I was thinking, like, earliest memory, we would have a lot of us, right? So it would be, between the cabin and the house. We were at the cabin for like just under 2 years, and then moved over to the house that my parents are now in, that they've added on to and stuff. I want to say it was in that same range, like 50-ish people, that would be all just hanging out, right? So our family was, at that point, 13 people, so anything additional was a large group already. But I distinctly remember, and this could be fuzzy, my siblings can for sure correct me, and I can make corrections downfield, but I remember that it was that we would do like pigs in a pit. Or like turkeys in a pit. So we'd actually start a fire in like a dirt pit, and then we'd put whatever meat, whether it was pig or a turkey or like a combination Hawaii. Of all that. Yeah, like totally the Hawaiian, but we didn't do like any of the Hawaiian flavor. It was more just we'd build the bed of coals, right? Like we'd start with oak, get it like hot, and then like coals, and then we'd put like that like corrugated like roofing over it, so that you're not putting the turkey or whatever meat right onto the coals. It would heat that up, but then you're putting like either like a turkey. I remember that we'd wrap it in like paper bags, and then get it like wet, and then you'd put it in there, and same thing with like a pig. You'd wrap it in something like burlap that's wet to keep it from drying out. Oh. Right. But then from that, you would just throw the dirt right back on top of it, and the paper bag and the burlap would keep it from getting all dirty, right? So it wouldn't actually get dirt on the thing. What the dirt would actually do is it would basically just create an oven. You're creating like the most rudimentary oven. Those coals would keep burning because there's oxygen in there, and it's like a slow cook. So you'd start like late morning, right? And then, or maybe even early afternoon, but by like evening time, you'd dig that stuff back out, and it would just be like this primo like stuff. Slow cooked. Yeah. Nice. But I do remember it just being like, it was awesome because obviously this time of year around here, like we were talking on the walk the other day, on the number of walks we've taken, it's just beautiful this time of year. So like we're out just in the woods, just getting after it, like having fun. It's
the best weather.
And then snacking, like all day long, because like there wouldn't actually be a meal on Thanksgiving until like Thanksgiving dinner or like mid-afternoon dinner. But yeah, that's like my earliest that I can recall to right now. It'll be funny to, as I'm thinking about it through the next couple of days, what comes. But
yeah,
that's my like earliest recollection is like that between the cabin and the house.
Nice.
So, yeah. All right. What do you recall being the best or most looked forward to part of Thanksgiving growing up? And this can be not just earliest, but like to date, or even maybe not to date, like, but maybe before we were married, right? Like,
what did I most look forward to?
Yeah.
We'll go. This sounds really funny and spoiled. I didn't realize how spoiled I was, but
it's a good thing.
Looking back, because we went to the restaurant, they first off, like picking off of a menu.
Oh yeah,
was really exciting when I was little, and I was always very torn because I felt like you had to get the turkey dinner. Yeah. There was prime rib, there was there was like all sorts of things, and I would like hear my uncles ordering prime rib or whatever type of steak.
Surf and turf.
I remember there were so many people that you would have to like wait and listen to what they ordered, and so you're just kind of waiting for your turn. And like when you're little, that's kind of a big deal to speak up and say your order and talk to the waiter or waitress or server. And I remember just like being real torn about like, man, I could get something different, but is it Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
If I don't get the turkey with the mashed potatoes.
How old were you right now?
Probably like, I don't know, maybe like first, second, third grade.
Okay, so you're already super aware of like why would I order a prime rib on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I felt like it was wrong. Like it was kind of wrong, but like, dare I? I was never brave enough to order anything but the turkey dinner. Like,
bring it, son.
when the server finally came to me, it was like turkey dinner. Like, I mean, clearly that's what you do.
It's Thanksgiving.
And so that was really exciting. But being with all my cousins on Thanksgiving, and then in between courses, they would bring this. It looked like a little ice cream cone, like a strawberry ice cream cone, but it wasn't. It was like this little like palate cleanser.
Oh, interesting.
And it tasted like strawberry sherbet.
Okay.
I had to ask Eli how to say sherbet because because it reads different, and I started questioning myself. But yeah, I always was so excited for that ice cream cone.
Well, wait, hold on. It could be a strawberry sorbet.
No, it was a palate cleanser.
It was, okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a dessert.
I don't actually know if it was a sorbet or a sherbet or what the difference is, but it was just, it cleansed your palate, and it was like so cold and good.
Yeah.
And so that was really exciting. And then what? Oh, so there was this whole wall, and it had all
in the restaurant.
Okay. And my cousins and I would get so excited when on the hour it would hit, because it was all cuckoo clocks.
Oh shoot!
It was all different type of clocks, and they were so neat, and every one was so different, and there was too many to even like look at. And so like when they all went off, you only had like so your eyes are just like roving everywhere, because you want to see, like, there's ones where little people come out, and like other ones where there's like birds, and other ones that change colors.
The next time we go, we need to see if this place is still around.
Okay.
Because I would love to see that wall. And
it was so fun. And so every time it got close to the hour, we'd always, run to the clock wall and try and catch all the clocks. And that was really fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think just coming together as a family and being together, my cousins are my favorite people. So.
Totally. Yeah. I remember you mentioning that like a while back, that I had the wall, but I didn't recall until you just said that. Like, that would be so cool to try and see if we could, like sneak in.
I don't even know if they have that anymore.
Yeah, like I don't. But like, so would they all go off identically at the same time, or was it literally just like
no? Because it was all the clocks were set.
They were set for the same time.
It was really neat.
Cool. That's awesome. Yeah,
maybe people who frequented the restaurant probably thought it was annoying, but we'd only go that once a year, so it was really neat.
Yeah, I'm torn between what I looked forward to the most. It's funny, like from memory, again, my memory's real shaky, you know that.
I'm his memory keeper.
Yeah. It has to be between we'd do sweats.
Oh yeah.
And that was like really cool, because it was now, like, retrospectively, there's a bunch of health benefits associated with it, right? We know that. But then it was like this cool, because it was cold, like it is right now, right? Like it would get like in the 40s. So you're literally standing in like either your underwear or your like your board shorts, something that you'd swim in, around a campfire, in like sandals or shoes.
It's cold.
Super cold. So the fire would kind of keep you warm, but like you're kind of prepping yourself to also get really hot. So like you don't want to be in clothes, like, because you're going to have to strip down to go in. But what we'd do is we'd build these fires out of oak. Again, like that's what's around here, and that's what we grew up using to heat the house. But we'd either get big, like large, so like good 20 to 30 pound river rocks that we'd put into the fire specifically, and then use shovels to get those out. They'd be like bright red stones. Or we'd find like tractor irons or old railroad ties, or not railroad ties, but like the actual rails, like sections of them, and we'd rig wire through them so that you could slide a pole through and then carry it into the tent. And typically it wasn't like I say tent, it was like homemade, basically like, you'd have like these rods, going over a slightly like dug out pit, and then a tunnel underneath with like tarp running over that, and then you'd throw dirt around the edges, right? So it would like enclose the space so that as you're pouring water, right, so you're creating this sweat, you'd bring water. Typically would use like a eucalyptus like bunch or like a sage bunch, to like pour the water, so like the water would run through that to like actually scent the room with either like a eucalyptus.
It sounds very Native
like
American.
Super, like there was a ton of Native American stuff, and probably had to have some of that washed off in terms of our Easter, baptismal renewals, but neither here nor there. We didn't subscribe to that as a family. I know my parents didn't. I didn't. I don't. But it was cool looking forward to that, because there's kind of this there's like a macho element to it. Typically, it wasn't women that were doing it. It was like us,
brotherhood.
Yeah, teenage boys and men, and there might be a lady or two that would join us, but primarily it was. Was it
your neighbors who got you into this?
Joe Crines was the one that like really like was like no like. He looked forward to it, right? So there was also like there was a passion from him, old family friend of ours, that would translate to me and to us. And it's funny, like just thinking back through it, like he was so like engaged on this front, that it was like, oh, this is cool. But then the other thing was the fact that it's fall, right? So you've just come out of summer, and it's like cool enough to be outside, because we didn't have AC, right? We didn't have any of that, like
freedom,
like nice stuff. So it was like, and I shouldn't say nice, but just pleasantries, So like it would cool down. And then typically what I'd look forward to, especially like when the Crines and at that point in time, they'd bring like quads and things like that. So you'd have all this like just super fun outdoor activities to do.
Did you do this before the meal, Thanksgiving meal? Yeah.
Or
after?
Sorry, back up. No, typically we do it after. It would typically be dark, like nighttime, like after 8. Like you're
sweating out all your tryptophan.
Yeah, basically. And it might not even be on Thanksgiving. It might be the night before or the night after, right? But you were looking forward to kind of this like time. But then the cool thing about it too is it was this combination. So you'd sweat. You'd be sitting there, and like sometimes it would be this like just straight mental game of like, how long can I stand? And other times you'd be fine. But then it might be reversed, because typically you'd get out and you'd do like a cold plunge right after it. I didn't know it was a cold plunge at the time.
Was that in the creek?
It'd be in the creek. Ooh. Or like when we moved over to my parents' place now, they had these tanks, and they would be filled up with like well water, which is like straight cold. Like it's colder than even like outside right now.
Yeah.
It would be like just in the 40s.
Oh, my back is like stiff just thinking about it.
But it was awesome, because you go from this just like super hot to just boom, and you just come out just feeling like so alive. Yeah. Best sleep that night that you ever got, because like
getting out all your toxins,
all these toxins, and then you get like super cold. You and I have talked about this. You get like super cold, which is good for your body to start to like come down, so to speak, for the day. So.
Well, I think you get cold in the morning to wake you up, and then you get hot to come down, right?
Oh, I guess.
You're supposed to do like hot at night.
Maybe I'm weird and I'm reversed, but
it's one of the many reasons why.
I did in terms of legitimately with Thanksgiving, I did look forward to the food. I don't want to say that like the food wasn't like exciting, but I was more like excited about like the things the activities that we wouldn't do normally the rest of the year, or most of the year, I should say. So,
did you have all your cousins and stuff with you, or?
What's funny is we might have a small contingent of cousins that would come up, but it was actually like close family friends, or just like a hodgepodge. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but it would be this mix. Your
parents have a lot of friends.
Yeah, it would be this mix of just family friends. So the Crines would be up.
Yeah,
we'd have like some of basically just family friends. I don't really remember a lot of cousins. Maybe the Malaros would come, every once in a while. But yeah, it was like this mix of like these families, the Wilsons. Who else?
I feel like your parents are always like the more the merrier.
Yeah.
So if you know.
Well, that's like the ranch was the charism was always like, we want people to always feel like they can come.
Yeah.
Right. And they still hold to that. It's a function of.
They've always been that way. I've seen them invite people to Thanksgiving like the day before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always am like, oh my gosh, that would stress me out so hardcore if we just added like 7 more people. And Eli's mom, Shelly, just is like, oh yeah, come, like real casual. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, I hope to be like that someday. And I'm real not right now. Really not. Yeah. Not cool. I thought I was cool. And then we had kids and I'm super not cool at all.
Are you good? Do you need any water or anything?
Mm-mm.
Let me look.
Just thinking about how high my voice is going to sound.
It's not. Stop. Why is Thanksgiving important to you?
I just think it's just a set holiday, a reason to come together as a family.
Yeah.
You know, you mean to get together with your family and do all these things together. And sometimes life just gets in the way. So it's kind of nice that it's like, this is for family.
Yeah.
We will get together if, you know, we don't see each other all year. Like, you know, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter. Like, I know I'm going to see, you know, my family. I think just taking a moment and pausing. Our life is moving so fast, and just thinking about like what the meaning of it is, and truly trying to be mindful and appreciative of how truly blessed we are. You know, taking a whole day to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's easy just in the grind to get lost and to get numb.
Yeah.
To what we have. And so like listing out what we do have, you know, the things that can seem burdensome might be a blessing or a gift to somebody else, and to look at our blessings with fresh eyes, I think.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. It's, I think prior to heart attack, it would be, how do I put this? I don't want to say rote, but it would be like a more of a national holiday, you know, like something that it's like, not that, you know, like our faith always has that, you know, the Eucharist, the Mass is Thanksgiving, right? That's like the highest form of Thanksgiving.
Right.
It is not like, I think post heart attack, I think it really strikes home a little more in terms of, you just mentioned it. It's a, you know, our lives, you know, we can let them get a little crazy, and it flies. But it's a really good time, you know, like basically today and then tomorrow, just kind of reflecting on, because we don't, like, if you don't stop and reflect on why, like why are we thankful, but more importantly, like what are the things, I think it's Benedict that, Saint Benedict, I should say, that talks about, and I've mentioned it in the last couple of meal prayers, or maybe also Sunday as well, but just this concept of help me to be thankful for the things that I know that you bless me with, but also help me to be thankful for the things that I don't recognize that you bless me with, right? Like, it's really important, because we live in such an like affluent country, right? Like the U.S. is so affluent. We're so used to these like nice things that we take them for granted. I know I do, right? And it's awesome to kind of actually like flip the script, as Benedict does, and kind of look at like, what are the things that I just assume are going to always be there, you know, that don't need to be there, right? But we're just so blessed to live in this country that affords so much, and just to really be thankful for it.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, especially prior to your heart attack, we definitely took your health for granted, and my health for granted.
Yeah.
You know, you're 36, just assuming that you're healthy because you're young. You know, that was very shocking. And I think it's also helped me realize that those things that you just assume, you know, because that's common. 36-year-old men who look fit and work out and, should be healthy. And that was an eye-opener that we can't take anything for granted, really.
Yeah.
And I think in the everyday with our kids, like, we have 6 kids. It's like, it's just a lot every day. And I'm like, I kind of feel crazy all the time. But then, I have girlfriends who have not been able to conceive.
Yeah.
And I look at that pain, and even on my craziest day, like, I know how blessed I am. Deep down in my heart, like, I am truly, truly grateful, even in the crazy and even on the worst days, just for the beautiful lives God's given us, and everything.
Yeah.
Really, but taking the time to recognize it is always good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's cool to also see, as our kids get older, like, that there is a beauty and an ownership of them recognizing, not because we're pushing, like, hey, what are you thankful for? But more, they recognize that there's a deep gratitude in mom and dad. And then they start kind of putting on the lens of, what are the things in my life that I'm, thankful for, that maybe I'm assuming everyone has, and that legitimately not everyone does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think kids, too, are innately selfish.
Yeah.
They're self-focused.
Self-focused, yeah.
And so some of the older ones are definitely becoming more aware and more outside of themselves.
Yeah. Outward focused instead of self-centered.
It's neat to watch some of the things, some of the selfless things. Liam and Declan just got in a physical fight, which is kind of nuts, and Eli wasn't home, and that's a really big no-no in our family. It's huge consequences. So I want everybody to feel safe. And so I told them they're gonna have to talk to Dad when he gets home, because it was a big deal. Because they could kind of care less about what I think, but they care so much about what Eli thinks. And so maybe like 20 minutes later, I just happened to overhear them apologizing to each other without me, asking them or telling them to. And the apology was so earnest and sincere, and explaining, like, hey, like, I thought you were doing this, so I did this, and I'm really sorry, like, I didn't realize, and, well, when you did that, I got worried, so I, and it was just very, like,
they were busting out the jujitsu playbooks and trying to figure out.
Yeah, they're not supposed to do jujitsu moves.
They're not. That's why it's
a really
for clarity
big deal
to the listener. That's why it's such a big deal, because
they can really harm each other.
They can really harm each other, and they know that they could lose mat time.
One of them thought that the other one was doing a chokehold on him, so he did a move on him, and then like really hurt him. Yeah. And that's like, I think they have to do like 1,000 burpees or something. Yeah, to earn back time on the mat. Yeah. I mean, it's a really big deal. And so, anyways, I was like, oh my gosh. So because they were so like tender toward each other and forgiving each other, I told them, listen. Without us, enforcing it. Yeah. Like, I'm going to have mercy on you. Like, I'm not going to talk to Daddy about this. You're not going to have to own up at jiu-jitsu, but that can't happen again. And of course later I told Eli about it, but I said you can't you can't enforce on this. You can't let them know that because I tell them everything, but liar. You're such a liar. But it was really neat. Yeah. It's neat watching them become young men. Yeah. Yeah. And owning, mistakes and just being big. Yeah. Yeah. Without like the outside influence of us. Yeah, because Eli calls me a helicopter parent, and
Do I actually call you that?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of am, but I don't like being called that.
It's true, but it's not.
And so I just the fact that, like, I didn't have to, like, encourage that, like, and they did it on their own volition was really cool.
Yeah. Anything else on the why is Thanksgiving important to you?
I don't think so. I just really enjoy being with family. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the food and stuff is cool, you know, but
just time spent with family.
Yeah, and seeing people that, you know, I was just talking to my mom. I haven't seen my little brother Joe. I can't remember the last time I saw him. He's so busy with work, and we're so busy with our family, and I get to see him tomorrow, you know, and so just stuff like that's really cool.
After a while.
Yeah. And I think, you know, our siblings, you know, the children's aunts and uncles are basically celebrities to them. They love them so much. They're super elevated. And so just watching them get to interact with the kids, and the kids are so pumped, you know, because they get to hang out with Uncle Mikey and Uncle Joe tomorrow. And it's special. Yeah.
It's awesome. How would the perfect Thanksgiving look for you?
No cooking or cleaning. No, just kidding. I think the perfect Thanksgiving would be one where we could wake up slow and have coffee together. Because that's my favorite thing. That's pretty rare for us. So when we can wake up slow and have coffee, it's, you know,
it's gold. Dependent
upon Sumner and Bear. Who wake up pretty early. Sumner's 1.5 and Bear's 3. I think just resting as much as possible, even though there's a lot of preparation that goes into hosting, you know, cleaning the house, and then also preparing the food. You know, when you're making a side dish, even if you're going to somebody else's Thanksgiving, it's usually for like 20 people. So there's a lot of prep that goes into that. And so instead of being stressed about that, just having a good mindset of being mindful of, we have 20 people to cook for. Yeah. You know, some people don't have the family that we have, or we have this crazy.
That's a cool way of thinking about it.
Like just switching the mindset, like just and the perfect Thanksgiving would be being able to be in that mindset and having a grateful heart versus a stressed out, like you know, frazzled, or you know. Our house is kind of crazy messy all the time, or it goes from looking awesome to looking nuts in, you know, 12 hours because we have 6 kids, but we have a home and we have 6 kids to make the messes, and that's a huge blessing, you know, and just trying not to be stressed out about the minutia and the things that really don't matter. Yeah. So just resting in the blessings. Yeah. Laughing over the food and drinks and pumpkin pie with lots of whipped cream. Just getting to see the kids with their grandparents and cousins and aunts and uncles. I think I really like watching the kids with, you know, their Mimi and Pops and Oma and Opa, and just having a blast. With their family. Yeah,
I agree with you on the coffee thing. The ability to wake up slow is few and far between. I resonate with pretty bang on everything else you said. I'm pretty simple, you know that. There isn't, you know, I don't need a bunch of fanfare or anything special. It's funny that you flipped it like that, because I was actually talking to Mateus. For the listener, that's my professor at the gym, and I know that he has friends here, right? I know that he probably had Thanksgiving, you know, he probably made Thanksgiving plans like Monday. But I wanted to make sure, because a lot of times, like, we assume that, to your point about people that, you know, like, have a place to go, we assume that everyone, like, I assume, everyone's got a place to go on Thanksgiving.
Do we have so many family members?
Because we're so in it, right? Like, we're from these backgrounds of large families that, you know, that's what you do. And I made an effort, I didn't tell you this, but I knew that like you'd be cool with it because it'd be like him or maybe him and his girlfriend, right? But I just told him, I was like, listen, if you don't have any plans, like come over to Thanksgiving. Like we'll have you, like we'd love to have you, And he was very appreciative, right? Like it was this cool, like, I don't know what you have, but if things fall through, like just come, don't just text me, call me, whatever. Like we've got, to your point, like I knew you wouldn't be. He's from Brazil. He's from Brazil, and he's for sure assimilated. Like he speaks English well. And I know that he has friends, and he had already made plans, at least from what he had said. But it was also a function of, okay, sometimes those things fall through because it's plans with friends, right? Like family things tend to not fall through, right? But like sometimes friends can, all of a sudden things change, right? That just happens. It's not because they're trying to be mean or, something's
pulled in more directions, maybe.
Right. And so to your point, like just trying to make sure like the outward focus is there instead of like, oh, let's just have our nuclear or somewhat nuclear / extended family. It's like, no, like if this brings a little bit of light and warmth to someone else's Thanksgiving, then let's do it.
Yeah. So having coffee and then just having an open heart.
Yeah.
To others.
Just try, and also being present. I think to exactly what you said in one of the earlier questions, like it's hard often to shut the electronics off and shut the work mode off, shut the scheming and gaming that at least for me, that I'm constantly like doing. The chess match going on in my head that no one else cares about. but like the shutting that off, to be present, right? To be present to you, to be present to the kids, to be present to whoever else we're going to spend time with.
Yeah.
And just be, right? Like, I think that's a really important thing in this day and age that we really don't practice, is just being.
Yeah.
We don't need to prove anything to anyone. We don't need to try and, present anything to anyone. We don't need to try and share these deep things that we're all in. It's like, just be, and that's a hard thing to do. It's just like being present and engaged in conversation, but also not trying to push like, oh, this is the cool new thing I'm in, or this is what I'm wanting to share with you, or this is being
engaged with the person in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
And listening, because sometimes I think when we get surrounded, we have our favorite cousins or our favorite, or people that we're like, oh, like I can't wait to talk to that person. Yes. And sometimes in these big family gatherings or with friends, like maybe you get caught with somebody that you don't carry a conversation very well with, or maybe you're not.
It's hard. Yeah.
Interested, but I think I always think about my cousin Johnny, who passed away a few years back, just some freak thing. And even when I was like little, he was like quite a few years older than me. He made me feel so cool because it didn't matter what I was talking about. He had full eye contact, and he was really cool.
He was engaged.
He was a cool guy who was really popular, and everybody loved him. And he was just a guy's guy, and he hunted, and he was just awesome. And he would be full on listening, asking me questions, and I thought I was like the coolest person because that's how he made me feel. And so I think about Johnny sometimes when I feel like, oh my gosh, like sometimes when I'm caught with somebody, because I'm still working on being a good person and having a loving heart toward everybody. And I think about Johnny and how he made me feel, and I want to make other people feel like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's cool. There's nobody more important.
That you're using him as like, I want to emulate this quality that he had about being able to engage someone. That's cool. That's
what I think about when I think about him. Yeah.
Does Thanksgiving make you think about him?
Yeah, I've had some cousins pass away and some uncles pass away, so it's kind of, it can be rough. My Uncle Duffy used to deep fry turkeys. And
many a story with deep fried turkeys. That's for
Duffy,
a different time.
Just the best, and so funny and happy, and had the best smile. And he would just be outside deep frying turkeys, and we just
drinking a Coors Light.
Anything. I don't even know. Yeah, like I feel like there's a lot of what was on Thanksgiving, and a screwdriver. I feel like everybody was just because deep frying the turkeys like started pretty early.
Yeah, well, because
it was all day.
A lot of them. Yeah,
it was just the best turkey, and Duff, you'd just be laughing deep frying turkey. So I really miss that. Yeah, and I miss all my Corey and Mike and Pat. Yeah, kind of crazy, but no, it's a good. I think the love that we shared, and all coming together. I think that's important to make time for your family because like we talked about taking things for granted. I mean, you just never would have thought they would not be here. And so I think it's very important to take that time to try and love on each other and be present to each other and just be grateful, that you have these people to love that God put in front of you. Yeah.
May their souls and the souls of all the faithful departed to the mercy of God rest in peace.
Amen.
So we've talked a lot about our faith throughout this, but in terms of our faith, what resonates most in terms of Thanksgiving?
I had to think about that one because I don't think I've really considered that, in terms of our faith.
Yeah.
Because I think we try and live out our faith, but I don't. Interesting, but I read this study about how some people in their mind, they think with words.
Okay.
And have a running dialogue in their head.
Which is probably me.
And I don't have that. I don't hear words, and I can't explain how I think, so I know I'm not brain dead, but I don't.
Well, no, I think we've talked about this. Like, you think in images.
Or
right?
concepts, or I don't really know, so I don't feel like I'm maybe the most articulate person off the cusp, so that was a interesting.
That's so much BS, by the way. You're a very articulate
because my dialogue's
person.
not there, so my also, if I had a running dialogue, I'd be like, shut up. I don't like it when people
Stabbing
talk all the time.
yourself in the eyeballs. Shut up.
I'm actually very introverted. This is hard for me to.
You're doing great.
Talk on the microphone.
It's just you and me. And 3 million other people.
And everybody who owns
I'm kidding.
a phone. So in terms of our faith, I was just thinking of like all the little sacrifices we make to prepare for the feast.
Yeah.
Maybe like it's parallel to our lives, just our everyday lives. You and Rick said this quote, when you had your podcast with him, but most people are not called to do huge, exciting, great things, or to be like a martyr, like how we see some of the saints getting stoned or executed. But most of us are called to do little things and make little sacrifices with great love. And that's what it's called to be a saint.
Very Therese of Lisieux.
It's Mother Teresa.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is.
That's funny.
You guys said that, and I was like dying laughing. I was like, wrong.
Canceled.
You said
You're fired.
One of you said Teresa of Lisieux, and the other guy was like, yeah, and I was like cracking up. So I was like, it's so wrong. But it's cool.
That sounds like her though, right?
It's on our fridge actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I wrote that on the chore chart to try to encourage the kids to be happy about their chores, but I don't think it works. I tried. Wrong.
You're fired.
Not to be a jerk. I just kind of am a jerk. But to do little things with great love, like preparing the house for guests, even though that can be stressful, or spending all day cooking a meal that's gonna make a lot of dishes, and you have to clean up after people. But it's all these little labors of love that hopefully, at the end of the day, it'll, you get to the feast, you get to go to heaven, if you think about it in terms of your life.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know. Maybe
that's beautiful. I don't, that's why I love open-ended questions, that like my job has really taught me how to articulate to, again, just understand and build relationship, right?
Yeah.
So that's like, I'm not looking for a specific answer in that, right? Like, it's a good thing for me to reflect on. Yeah. I think the obvious one is Mass, the Eucharist.
Yeah.
That is the perfect Thanksgiving meal. This also, like, it's funny this year because we've been watching The Chosen. Yeah. Right? A lot of the Judeo tradition is reflected, right? Because all the apostles, Jesus, they come from the 12, 12 apostles, but then also the 12 tribes, right? And it's beautiful in terms of there's these snippets that you catch in it. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, who has given us the gift of X, right? And there's this ever-present thankfulness to them, right? Blessed are you, O Lord our God, for you have given us the work to our hands, right? Blessed are you, O Lord our God, for you have given us the rest that we are about to partake in, right? Like, it's just this constant, ever, like, present, like, gratitude, right? And what beautiful way of connecting. And that's a visual way. It's all throughout Scripture, right? Old Testament to New Testament. But the fulfillment of that old tradition, right? Like, to me, it's like seeing that on a screen and then trying to incorporate that daily presence of, like, blessed are you, O Lord our God, for giving me this time spent with you on this podcast, right? Like, it's very simple things, but we can, right? To exactly what you're saying that Mother Teresa said. Not
he's doing air quotes at me. Let's just Google it when we're done with this.
I'm kidding. You have a way better memory, so you're right. I'm just going to say that right now.
Okay.
And she's fluttering her eyes at me. But back to what I was saying, like,
one of the Teresas.
You're just gonna sit in there simmer, like
one of them.
It's and that's our faith. Really, everything we do should become a prayer. And so I think it's the problem and the solution is that we have a day like Thanksgiving that can really help us to, like, reflect not just on what we can be thankful for from a quote unquote societal or secular level, but really at its core, the concept of Thanksgiving. Okay, Puritans may have been participatory, but Puritans' lineage comes from Catholicism, right? So, like, having a meal, having the sit down of Thanksgiving is a reflection of them trying to emulate and mirror the true Thanksgiving, which is the Mass. Yeah. And every meal, right? Like, every meal that we have, that's why we sit down as much as we can as a family. Yeah. And pray and give thanks. We light candles at the dinner table. Yeah. And it
help our kids, like, see the visual of it. It's sacred.
It's a beautiful way of reflecting in the domestic church, right? Our home, our family, what is occurring at Mass. Right, the highest form of prayer that we can be engaged in, participating in, praying with the priest, we can also be doing at home. And so, to me, it's this cool. There's a lot there, but I'll leave it there.
Yeah.
All right, what are you most thankful for?
Oh, I feel like my face is so hot right now.
Why?
Because, like, the real answer is just going to be embarrassing to say to everybody with the phone listening to this.
Well, you don't have to. You can say other things that you are thankful for.
I mean, I'm thankful for a lot of stuff. The list would never end if I wrote it all down.
Which is how we all should be.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, not to be cheesy, but I'm most grateful for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not trying to throw a meatball.
I know. And you weren't, like, asking me to say you, but our marriage is just my biggest blessing. we got married young and have grown up together, and you're just my rock.
Yeah.
You know, you pour into me. You're very selfless with me. I feel like I married up because you're so much holier than me, truly.
It's lies.
No, like, I mean, you are very disciplined in your quest to become holier, and I don't have that discipline, you know, but watching you makes me want to be better, and I just feel like our lives are so rich and full, and it's because I said yes to you. And I'm just grateful every day that, you know, my decision to marry you changed the trajectory of my life.
Yeah.
You know, into a very blessed and full life. So it's you.
Nice.
Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to be.
Live recorded mushy.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
No, don't say sorry. You shouldn't be sorry for that, and you shouldn't be apologizing for that.
I'm not. Yeah. Sorry. I'm just, you know, sorry you have to hear it. Sorry you have to hear it. Yeah.
It's totally reciprocated, and I think you said it. I can't communicate in words the gratitude that I have towards you. The way that you treat me, and the way that you love me, and the way that you continue to motivate me is it's a very beautiful thing. And what we have is special, and I think that translates to not just each other, but it translates to our kids, and I would argue many of our friends, if not all of our friends, absolutely benefit from the grace that you and I receive by trying to be as faithful and fruitful and life-giving to each other as possible.
Yeah, I think our marriage is life-giving.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun to be together.
It is very fun to be together. What else? Let's list maybe like two more things.
Two more things.
Because that is obvious, right?
Yeah,
and
it's important. It's pretty obvious.
It's the most important, but
it's just the biggest one. I think I'm really grateful for my parents. You know, growing up, I was just very blessed. I had a really wonderful childhood, and I don't think I knew that until I became a parent myself, and what loving and awesome parents I had, and I do have. And I, you know, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't realize not everybody has that until I was probably like in like later elementary school, middle school, especially high school and college, especially in college, you know, working different jobs and stuff, and just really working with a diverse group of people and hearing their stories and their backgrounds and how they grew up. And I was like, man, I was very naive, did not realize that was even out there, because my parents, their love was just so solid.
Yeah.
I never questioned the love that they had for each other. I never thought I'd get married, because I was like, well, if I don't find somebody who loves me the way my dad loves my mom, then I'm not going to get married. Yeah. Which is God, you know, God laughed and said, nope, you're going to get married when you're 21. Which is not.
I got the guy for you.
Yeah, it was not what I had in mind, you know. But yeah, just, you know, the way I was raised in the family that I was raised in, I just, I really feel so blessed and grateful for that. I feel really grateful. Our life is so crazy right now, and it's a struggle bus every day, but I'm so grateful for our kids.
Yeah.
You know, they're so smart and so fun to be around. They really are such good kids. You know, they have so much energy. They drive me kind of nuts. We homeschool, so there's just like really no breaks. And, you know, they're messy and loud, and hysterical and crazy and so full of life. And, you know, I I can't believe that God gave us these guys to raise, and
it's crazy.
Yeah, to spend our lives with. And, it's funny, like, my brother came over today. He just happened to be near our house at the store, and he dropped something off. And I'm just so used to our kids, like the things that other people think are funny or like see that makes them laugh. Like, I'm just in it, and so our little guy Bear was just talking to Mikey, my brother, and Bear's 3, he's going to be 4 in a few months here. And he is so expressive. We always like joke about how he's like a little anime character emoji, because his eyes can speak
12 million words in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean his whole face, like it's just he's so emotive, and watching him, he loves Mikey, watching him talk to Mikey. And Mikey was just like, is this every day? I'm just laughing. And I'm like, I don't even.
We're in it. Like, this is normal.
Yeah, but I don't really see it until I see them interacting with other people.
Yeah.
And it, it's awesome. It's like, like the Thanksgiving thing. Like, you don't think about the things that you're grateful for every day. So taking like a minute to like step outside of yourself.
Yeah.
And to see it, with fresh eyes. So you and my parents and our kids, pretty typical, but real answer.
Yeah, no, that's authentic. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually really haven't thought about this question, even though I sent it to you.
Just think of 2 things.
Yeah, 2 other things. Obviously you're numero uno. I for sure, it's funny. I completely resonate and agree with you wholeheartedly in terms of the kids. It's crazy, but there's also a refinement there, right? Like as a parent, like you realize that God's using your children, and I'll argue this to those that want to argue this,
to break you and
but
remake you.
Yeah, exactly. Like now mind you, we have to be their stewards. We have to coach and guide them and lead them, right? Mm-hmm. But they don't know how much they're changing us by who they are.
Yeah.
Right. And God's grace actively involved in them by their baptism and all the other sacraments that they're involved in, and how much we're just deeply grateful to be like, it's just crazy to think that like the souls that we've been given are like you mentioned, Bear, like every one of them, he's an example, but every one of them, like, it's just like, dude, I can't wait to see what God does with you. Like, cause like, you're just like awesome,
Yeah. Or
and not because of you or I.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you drive me crazy because I know this personality trait is going to be awesome as an adult, but right now it's really hard to raise you.
Exactly. So kids for sure. And I agree with you on the parents. I think I'm also coming around to the fact that I'm just deeply grateful for the people that aren't family in our lives.
Yeah.
That God has put in our lives.
Yeah.
And you know who you are.
We have friends that are family.
And how much their impact on our lives has been, their prayer, their encouragement, their challenge, their love, their being in our lives. And it's just such a, again, going back to Thanksgiving, just so thankful for the way that God has brought them into our lives. And sometimes we've known some for many, many years, and how it's kind of this ebb and flow, right? Sometimes we're very involved in each other's lives, and then all of a sudden it's because of just life,
babies or jobs.
Exactly. So
yeah.
How can people find you?
Find me?
Yeah.
Well, not on Instagram or Facebook, because those are private. Okay. So don't text me, don't call me.
So call me? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, call Eli.
Why am I the guy that always gets my dad and now you? It's like, just call Eli.
No, I post a lot of pictures of our kids, so the only people I let follow me are people I know in real life.
Yeah. That's smart.
And I really love people from afar.
Just not up close and personal.
I actually didn't realize I was an introvert until we had a bunch of kids and I never had any time. And I realized, I need alone time to recharge, but I don't. God,
I don't get
God
alone
just
time.
laughing like, let's see how far I can push her. You can reach out to Eli and find me because everything's private and I'm not giving out my number.
No, don't do that. That's not a smart move. Any closing thoughts?
No, this wasn't as hard as I thought it would be.
It's easy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool format. Fires make it like even better. So
yeah, we're in our living room right now.
Yeah.
Our den.
But we'll get you around a fire with another drink.
We're testing our Thanksgiving cocktails we're gonna make for tomorrow.
We're trying to get the recipe perfected. Let's close in prayer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. Amen. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, for giving us the grace to understand your blessings, to know and appreciate the ways that you give us breath. The very life is a gift that we take for granted. And everything else, from the greatest to the smallest things that we either appreciate and understand or that we don't. Just ask that this Thanksgiving would be a beautiful time spent with each other, with our children, with our family, to connect with our family, whether it's in person or by phone or FaceTime. Just ask that you would give us good rest and help us to truly be not just on one day of the year, but to truly reflect consistently throughout the year on the many blessings that we should be recognizing and being thankful to you for, and vocalizing that back to you. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Mother Teresa.
Pray for us.
Saint Teresa of Lisieux.
Pray for us.